right, welcome everybody. We're here today with Hello Ernest at the kitchen table connecting writers and readers. My name is Jan Pratt, and our goal for this podcast is to hopefully get readers out there to find their next great read. So I'm here today with Suzanne. Oh, Suzanne, I'm going to mess it up. Samaii, did I say it right?
Just think Samaii.
I'm
Sam
here
plus
today
I.
with I'm here today with Suzanne Samaii, and she has been a public educator, a teacher for over 26 years. She's retired now. Originally from South Africa, but now is in Canada and been there for the last 45 years. So that pretty much makes you a resident, I think, of Canada. And what she really enjoyed during her school career was being able to help kids write and perform different plays. And I think, Suzanne, if I'm right, you wrote quite a few of those, didn't you?
Yes. Had fun doing it too.
What was one of your favorites?
My favorite was E.T. Phones Home.
I love that movie, so I'm sure the play was super fun for the kids and for the audience. So, Suzanne has a brand new book. It is almost hot off the presses. She's waiting for her copy to come in the mail and is hoping that it arrives tomorrow. The name of her book is And Now We Seek the Light, and it is a historical fiction book. So, Suzanne, tell us a little bit about the background of this book. What is the premise behind it and the story? And then you could give us maybe just a little bit of your why for writing this story.
Let's start off with the why. What I've been finding that I have been extremely upset with the news that is being reported globally, particularly the shootings that are happening all over the world. And the most unfortunate part of it is that there are a lot of young people involved in these shootings. And that makes me very, very sad, because if they are starting at this time of their life, and because our society is negligent in allowing young people to get their hands on guns, it disturbs me. And I feel that we, our generation, our boomer generation, are kind of letting our youth down. We're letting our children down by not leading them and teaching them better management of themselves, better management of dealing with problems, better management of looking around them and understanding that we don't settle issues by shooting. We need to teach them the way to settle. And when I say this now, I think even of the adults, when we think of a wonderful, we won't mention any name, but a certain gentleman in the States, how to handle issues instead of degrading people, lying about people. And unfortunately, the fastest way, it seems, that some people realize to settle issues is to shoot. And it happens so often, and it's very scary. And more importantly, as a boomer, I feel that I've neglected part of my job. We have to guide our young. We have to set them on the right course. And certainly putting a gun in their hand is not the right course. And it has to be stopped. And the only way we can stop it is to talk about it, write about it, put it out there. So that's where I've come from.
And so is that the main theme of your book? Is that what the story revolves around? Is maybe a school shooting or?
It goes much deeper than just shootings. It questions why. It questions how to improve situations, how to teach, how to make laws which will negate any such awful outcomes. And we need to look at ourselves and say, where do I fit in this horrible circle? Where do I fit in? Where did it start? Why did it start? And how can we remedy this? This is the main issue. How do we remedy this? We need to get together. We need to make laws which will ensure that. And we need to teach our youth that there are other ways of settling whatever issue it might be. So that's where I'm coming from. And it's a global issue, unfortunately.
So not to give any spoilers away in the book, but is that these solutions, do they come out somehow in your story?
They do. Yes, they do. And they start right from ground level, looking at different styles of parenting and what the different styles accomplish, right? So there are remedies. And also, in fact, looking at our government and our lawmakers. So tackling the issue from ground roots right up to the top.
So now your book is traditionally published. You were visiting with me a few minutes ago. And how did you find that process? How long has this book been a work in progress?
Actually, not that long. This is my second book. My first book was published December of last year, 2023. And this one is, as I say, being published as we speak. I do have a third book. It's part of a trilogy, actually. And so this is the second book that I'm busy with. And who knows, hopefully the next one could be ready within the next year and a half, 2 years, because I've already got the plot going. I've already set it up. And so it's a matter of sitting down and organizing it and putting it down there. Yes. So that's where I am.
Well, for you, that sounds like it was a pretty kind of made in heaven connection with your publisher. I've heard some stories that are quite as glamorous. So
that's true.
Did you submit your work to a publisher and they just said, "Yay, we're excited to take you on"?
Pretty much, yes, pretty much. I was hoping to get this one published by December, actually, because it's a better time to get things out. But somebody got ill, and of course, things happened. And so, as I say, today it's ready to be published out there on Amazon and Kindle and all the outlets, that they, I think it's 50 other platforms that it will be available on. So,
well, that's amazing. That's a great, I think a great scenario for people that are interested in writing or maybe have a book, because sometimes you hear some stories that aren't quite so easy. So it does happen where you just find that
yes,
marriage with your publisher and it works, so smoothly. So congratulations on that.
yes, thank you. Gladly accepted, trust me, because
So
it can
now,
be an issue.
so now 3 books almost in 3 years. That's quite a writing endeavor. So what are your habits for when you are writing a book like this? Do you have any routine, any special hints or tips for people?
I think, yes, set yourself up, be comfortable, have everything at hand that you will need. Um, and what I found is my routine is set pretty much with my husband. As I say, after we have our morning coffee and listen to some news, thank goodness he's got his own hobby, which keeps him out of my hair. And I have my hobby, which keeps me out of his hair. So we have a great symbiosis going on, yeah. And so I will, after we've done that, I will come into the office and I have everything set up. Um, but the other thing, and yes, when I go to bed at night, before I actually fall off, things are going through my head ever so slowly. So by the time I get up and whatever, and I'm set and ready to go writing, those thoughts come back and I kind of put them together. This is why I say my next book, I've pretty much got planned. And I think that's also helpful because you're not stumbling and you've got something going. There's always something going on upstairs. And so when I sit down, fortunately, I don't have children, I don't have pets, so nobody bothers me. And that's important, so I can keep my thoughts together and I have everything at hand. And my husband doesn't bother me. So, very important stuff. I like my quiet. Yes, it's quiet. I don't have music or anything going. But that's what works for me. That's what works for me. Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm assuming, and probably a lot of our listeners would be assuming that you do all your work on a computer. Is that true?
That's correct. Yes, that is correct. Although I must say, what I found myself doing when I lay things out, I'll sit with pen and paper and on my pad and I'll sort of draw things out, sort of arrows going here and everywhere else. And um, when I start, but all my writing is done on my computer, yes. Mm-hmm.
Now,
So.
when you said you think about those ideas like right before you're kind of going to sleep, which is, a time when our brains are kind of relaxing and our creativity can flow. Do you have to write any of that down? You said it just comes back to you. I'm envisioning pad and paper right by your bed.
No, no pen and paper in my bedroom. Um, it's all upstairs, in the little box up there. um, because the nice thing is thoughts will follow, So I'll have main ideas, remember this incident, and everything else that shoots off from there. And then the next big incident or thought or something I'd like to focus on. So this is why it's easy to jot it out, because I will have big ideas and sorts of many arrows going off from here and there, Or I even watching TV or something like that, something will trigger something that happened on a screen, and I'll say, I like the way that played out. Through a facial expression, through a comment. And so I seem to be on the lookout for, I like how that worked, I should try that in my writing, kind of. So, I guess we all have our different idiosyncrasy, our own ways of thinking and connecting thoughts and dots and ideas. And so it's always on the go, let's put it that way.
Do you ever do any like recording of ideas, or it's just into the computer and after you've done your sketch out? Some people will do audio recordings of a thought or a scene or
Well, yeah, I do. I will on my phone. I will make notes. I'll make little jots, jotting notes. I might hear a nice catchphrase, and I will just jot that down, because sure enough, I'm going to be using it somewhere along the line, especially with sayings that people always have, that everybody knows. And I'll say, yeah, I can use that. And so I'll put it down. I'll write it down on my phone, just jot it down very, very quickly. And so I have notes on my phone and easy to refer to.
About how many hours a day? About how many hours a day do you write?
Do I actually write? I would say easily 3 to 4. Easily 3 to 4 hours. Yeah. Because then we'll stop and we'll have tea and, and then I have a nice break, and then I might write again, maybe another hour afterwards, after supper, so in total, I'd say it'll easily 3 to 4 hours. Very easily.
It seems like you would need to do that to be cranking out a book a year, right? So.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, I've never had any thought of writing a book. It was never on my radar. But as I say, what did spike ideas is what's happening in our society today, in our global society. And that's been something that's really pushed me quite hard going down this path.
I think that's important, that we have that we can get our voice heard through writing. For many of us, that's I think we all have a mission to change the world for the better, and somehow we figure out how to do that through our writing. So, well, why don't we hear a little bit of your book? I think you have told me you had a couple little snippets that you'd like to share with us.
I do. All right, here we go. There've been mass shootings in France, Germany, Africa, the United States, Serbia, Scotland, Finland. However, here's another interesting statistic as well. In 20 years, there have been, are you ready for this one? No mass shootings in Australia. Strict new gun laws were passed after a mass shooting 20 years ago. This new law has prevented any more such mass shootings. However, this is not to say that if someone is bent on vengeance, that they won't seek another tool like a knife to cause harm. This has been reported by researchers in Health News. And then I'm going to read another little snippet. So now we revisit Pandora's box and remind ourselves the last item she saved from that box. It was hope. Meg wants to shout it out. Hope springs eternal. Diagnosed trauma can be treated. Behaviors can be changed. Children or adults with mental illness can be treated and cared for. Yes. Nations can work together on that global platform to give their nations, their citizens, their children, the best chance of survival. It can be done. And I'm going to read you a quick little poem, which goes something like, where did I write it? Yeah. What a wonderful world it could be, because the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. The world is big. The world is different. The world is beautiful too. If only we, the gatekeepers, will make it so. So let's stand together, because the hands that rock the cradle rules the world. And that's in my book.
Well, thank you for that. So tell our listeners where they can find you.
They'll be able to find me on Amazon and Kindle, and all the other platforms, 50 other platforms. I can't name them all off the top of my head, but certainly Amazon and Kindle will be there, and all the other platforms you'll find books. It should be there.
Will it also be an audiobook?
Yes, it will.
So we'll eventually get the link in the show notes so that people can find it more easily once it goes live. How can they connect with you personally? Do you have a website or a Facebook page or Instagram? Are there any social media platforms where they can find you?
They could find me on my email, and I think that's probably the most direct way to get a hold of me. My email address is quite easy. It's Zany, ZANNY 55 at yahoo.com. Zany55 at yahoo.com.
All right, Suzanne, thanks so much for sharing your mission with us, and congratulations on the second book. It sounds very exciting. Can't wait to see it out in print. We'll get that information in the show notes for everybody. So if you would like to send Suzanne a question or connect with her, I know if you purchase the book, she would love for you to do a review. That always helps an author when you can get a review up on Amazon. So if you are called to do that, I know that she would appreciate that. And so we'll wrap up today. This is Hello, Ernest, at the kitchen table, making connections with writers and readers. And hopefully today you found your next best read.
Oh, yes, hopefully.